Happy Monday. Today is Monday, March the 15th, 2021, and today's daily Bible readings come to us from Psalm 107, 1 through 16, Exodus 15, 22 through 27, and then Hebrews 3, 1 through 6. I'm going to kind of look at both the Hebrews and the Exodus passage and talk about servants and sons and what's the difference between the two. So we've got this story in Exodus about Sweetwater. And it's a story about one of these miraculous things that Moses did, or rather I should say that God did through Moses. And he did a lot of miraculous things for the people of God, for God's household. He was, as Hebrews tells us here today, faithful in all God's house. He was a faithful servant, and so God did a lot of miraculous things through him. Like the story here, sweetening the bitter waters of Mara. And that, when they say bitter waters, it basically means that they could tell that there was something up with the water. There was something in it. It didn't taste right, and it was probably poisoned. That it wasn't fit to drink. It was a dangerous water source, which is pretty bad. If you're traveling through the wilderness, bad enough if it's just yourself. Worse, horrible, nightmarish if you've got, a whole nation of people tramping behind you through the desert wilderness. And so this was a big deal. And the story goes that God shows Moses this piece of wood and says, hey, pick it up, chuck it in the water. It'll all be good. It'll work out. And miraculously, the water becomes sweet and everybody is able to, satisfy their thirst. So this is one of these huge miracles that God does through Moses because Moses is obedient. What if Moses had sat there and argued with God the whole time about, that's stupid. Why should I throw a chunk of wood in there? That's not going to do anything. He was obedient, and so God was able to do great things through him. He was perhaps, the most faithful servant that God ever had in all the household of Israel, like Hebrews suggests. But here's the deal. And this is the other thing that Hebrews points out. He was still a servant. He was a servant of the household. He was a servant in the household, which is an important distinction. It's a distinction that's been made to us throughout Lent so far. The whole story of Abraham that we were in a few weeks ago, when he's like, God, you promised me an heir, but the only person I have that's going to inherit my household is my servant. And while he's a great guy and everything, he's not my heir. He's not, he's not my child. So faithful servant, faithful son, as faithful as Moses was, he was still just a servant. Albeit, like we said, an amazingly faithful and obedient one. But Hebrews helps us understand that in Jesus Christ, we have one greater than Moses. In fact, one in whom all the hopes of Moses are fulfilled. Yes, Moses had hopes for the future of this nation, but there's also hopes expressed in the character and the being and the notion of who Moses is that come to be completely fulfilled, right? In this person we call Jesus Christ. Because not only is he a faithful servant, right? He's faithful like Moses, and even more faithful than Moses, but he's also the son of the household. And the healing he brings is more eternal than what Moses may have even ever imagined. So, you got two good examples in these passages of probably who you should pattern your life after. Be faithful like Abraham, be faithful like Moses, and be faithful as Christ is and has called you to be. He's the example, the primary example. So, anyway, that's the DBR for today. Get out, enjoy the day, have a good day, and we'll be back tomorrow. Boop.